Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Hi, I'm Kim.
And I'm Torra.
This is our podcast, Kicking It with Kimm and Torra. Today we have another special guest, and I will let Torra introduce him.
Okay, we have Sean Graham, and he is here today as a mentor of my brother Shannon, who has been in the trucking industry for 36 years, started when he was 17 years old. He's going to tell us pretty much the ins and outs, the benefits of having and owning a truck and working for trucking companies. So, absolutely, we have got to dive right in and start these questions right away. Sean Graham, thank you for joining us. And by the way, you are amazingly beautiful.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
thank you for the compliment. I ain't heard a compliment in a while.
Very
Thank
handsome.
you. And then clean cut, you better watch yourself because he didn't
Oh,
tell me you have a
okay.
sister.
He didn't
Both
let
of y'all are nice looking women,
Oh,
so
thank you. She's single, by the way.
That's very nice of you to say, but we do appreciate you joining us. We have been looking forward to talking to somebody from the trucking industry for a while because, back when the shelves were empty and we had the pandemic and all of that, there were all kind of delays with the trucking industry and not being able to get the cargo off the ships and stuff.
Mhm.
So I know you know a lot that we would be happy to learn about and share with our viewers.
well, truck drivers are not appreciated until there's a need of us. And
Absolutely.
so uh, I pride myself on making sure I'm well groomed, I smell good, my clothes are neat. That's why her brother called him clean cut because he don't like to get his hands dirty or nothing. And uh, uh, image is everything to the
Absolutely.
public. Truck drivers smell, they don't take care of themselves.
Oh, yeah.
They just live in a truck and run up and down the road.
Oh,
But
yeah.
shoot, on the weekends, if I didn't have a load, I got corporate lodge and I go stay in a suite. I ain't sleep in the truck, but I had nice equipment, so I drop my trailer and go hang out in my truck. Go to Cheddar's, I go to the bar, and if I had some drinks, I just park right in the parking lot and stay there for the night. So it's all in what you make it. You
So
have fun.
I'm gonna just dive in and ask you some top tier questions as far as what's the benefit of owning your own truck and then working for a corporation, a trucking corporation.
Well, owning, you got different levels of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you become a driver, most companies won't touch you unless you have a minimum of 2 years. Now you can get
What
in with the
certification in those 2 years do you need?
you need like 2 years over the road experience. They're
Mm-hmm.
not gonna hire you to run local right out of truck driving school or whatever because some of these spots you go into, they're real tight and you got to know what to do. And
Okay.
as a new driver, new drivers, you can tell new drivers because they want to show other people that they can do it. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need no help.
Mm-hmm.
Well, experienced driver look at it and say, well, wait a minute, I need to go at it at this angle, or I might have to jump out and say, hey, sir, you
Mm-hmm.
mind watching my blind spot so I don't hit your truck. So
Mm-hmm.
the big,
Okay.
so the Big Ten will hire anybody out
Big
of
Ten will
school.
hire anybody. Oh, okay.
Where um my belief is if somebody had the vision to buy a truck and then they
Mm-hmm.
grew to a big trucking company, why I can't do it for myself? You
So the
Mm.
know,
Big Ten are the top 10 trucking companies in the industry or something else?
the top 10 in the industry, they call them mega carriers.
Can you?
JB Hunt, Snyder,
Okay.
Warner, CR England, Prime. Who else is out there?
Cisco.
No, Cisco is they do restaurant, so
Oh.
they not considered a mega carrier.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So but here again, Cisco will hire somebody, and a guy seasoned like myself, I ain't taking that job because you got
Mm-hmm.
to unload that truck. You run up and down a ramp all day long, and you got to put it inside the store, stack it, and then go back in the truck, and ain't nothing on pallets or nothing. And you got to take and look at queue numbers and stuff, and like, hey, it's not sorted for you. They just throw a bunch of boxes on the truck and then give you a list of stuff that need to go to a
So if you
restaurant.
own your own tractor trailer, you don't have to take stuff in and out of your trailer for a company. You can just
Nope.
You get
I
the,
ain't touching nothing. If they do, they
you
paying.
drop it,
Hmm.
I'm
you
gonna
ju-
knock straight sparks from your ass if I gotta take it and put my hands on it.
so you
But
like,
most companies now brokers now they'll pay for lumpers.
Hmm.
I'm not coming out my pocket.
and the lumber is somebody who's going to unload the truck for you?
Yeah. And it's gotten outrageous. Back in the day, whenever I was doing it, a lumper, you can get a lumper for like $50. You pull up in a spot now, lumpers are like $300 to $500 to unload the same truck that I paid $50 30 years ago.
Mm.
So what drives the trucking industry to the point where right now you all are being so penalized as far as trips that you take? Because from what I'm hearing is that one time you could probably earn like $2,000 on a trip. Now you're only that same trip, you're only getting paid $500, which isn't worth it because you got what, the gas, you have the maintenance on the car. So what's driving that industry? I mean, what's driving that in the
Uh, well, right now, the insurance company is driving the trucking industry in the ground.
insurance company?
The insurance companies, because they're telling, carriers that if you do this, that, like the EOD, it's
Mhm.
choking the trucking company out.
What is that? The EOD? What is that? What is
That's
that?
an electronic logging device.
Oh, I don't.
Well, I understand that they want guys to be safe, but hell, I don't spend $100,000. Right now, a new truck will cost you almost $300,000. And that ain't include,
Is
that
that
don't
the
come
thing
with a
that can
trailer.
shut your tractor trailer down while you driving it?
It
The
won't shut it
EOD?
down,
Oh,
but it keeps track of your hours.
oh,
So, you got a 14-hour clock. Out of
okay,
that 14 hours, you're allowed to drive 11.
okay.
And then you got a mandatory take 10. But in the middle of that, you have to show a 30-minute break. So now your 11 hours come to be 10.5
Uh-huh.
of
Okay.
driving. Then you got to show a pre-trip. So that's another 15 minutes. So now you got 10.25. If you show a post-trip, now you're down to 10 hours of driving.
And this is
So
unpaid or paid?
No, the goal
that's
is
that's
for
that's
them to
unpaid.
monitor how much he's driving so that he is getting sufficient sleep. They will not let you drive more than 10 or 10 point whatever, 11, whatever he's saying.
Mhm.
And so you have to have that electronic log to confirm that you're not driving more hours than that because there's a sleeping danger. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So can you have a co-pilot to
You
pick
can
up?
have you can have a team driver, but you're
Mhm.
still bounded by each one of y'all still bounded by the electronic logging device. Now, when we was on paper logs, if you ran teams,
Mhm.
then you could do 5 on and 5 off. The old rule, you could do it was 10 hours off. I mean 10 hours of driving and 8 hours off. But if say I started driving and I got sleepy and I stopped, say I drove 2 hours. If
Mhm.
I stopped and went to sleep for 2 hours, I still had 10 fresh hours to drive. I got the 2 hours back.
Mhm.
They changed the rule back in 2004. They took
Mhm.
that out. So it was 11, 11 and 10.
Mhm.
Then they let you split so you can stop the clock. Then they turn around and change it again. You can't stop the clock. Once you start that clock continues to run until your 14 hours are up. So if I stop to the truck stop and get fuel, it's gonna take 15 minutes. I don't care how fast you put it in and you take off, it's 15 minutes.
So
Then
I'm
you want
sorry,
to get
go on.
something to eat. You
Mhm.
go to the truck stop, you get fuel, you want to go in there and grab a McDonald's or a sandwich or
Mhm.
something.
Mhm.
Well, hell, that's 30 minutes right there, 30 to 45 minutes. You standing in line. So that comes off your clock. You can't stop
Mhm.
it. So
Okay.
guys don't, you really have to plan your trip and find out where you trying to get to.
Okay, so
And
basically you're saying the EOD is nickel and diming your money right now. So
yeah,
that gives me another quick question. you being as though you started at 17, can a 17-year-old start now in this business, or do you think it's pretty asinine that it's
It's 18. It's 18
18?
right now. You can't leave your state. You can run local. But, again, you got to go with a big carrier who are self-insured,
Mhm.
and then they'll let you run within the city. But they ain't gonna just turn you loose in the tractor trailer. You're gonna ride with somebody
Okay.
until they feel like you trained up. Then you gotta wait till you're 21, and then you can go cross country.
No. Oh, okay.
That's interstate when you can run cross country. Interstate is when you have to stay within your state. But I mean, the EOD chokes you out, because there were weeks I was making $8,000 to $10,000.
You said there were
One day
weeks that you were making 8 to 10. That was what you were bringing home.
that's what I was bringing home.
Oh, wow.
But you take in,
What can you tell us
like the
what kind of
job.
trip? Can you tell us what kind of trip would bring? I mean, just hypothetically, like what kind of trip would you where you start and finish to get or come back to bring that
I
type
can
of
start
income?
on, shit. Back then it was refrigerated trailer. We call those reefers.
Okay.
Um, tankers
Reefers,
yeah, tankers with hauling chemicals is banging money. I mean,
toxic
uh,
chemicals or like gas? What like
yeah, no chemical stuff that will
chemicals?
kill
Oh,
you or kill the public.
okay. Oh, okay.
And then oversized loads, they was I mean, the rates was outrageous. And so van trailer containers, most of the guys work local, within a certain region, so many miles. Um but the rates, van trailer, that's gone to, I don't know if I can curse on here, but it's gone to poop. And I prefer right now, I haul chemicals. You know,
Oh.
the money is in chemicals. I had a step deck. I had a reefer trailer. I almost lost my ass on with a reefer trailer. You got to know somebody.
Mhm.
And it's seasonal. With the step deck, that's where I met Shannon, your brother.
Mhm.
And it tell you, man, we sometimes we run overnight. We get half our money when we put it on the deck, and
Mhm.
deliver the next day. We get the other half.
And that's
So we
guaranteed
always
money?
kept money.
Is that guaranteed
It
money?
was always money.
Oh.
Oh yeah, you knew what it was before you put it on your deck.
Now
A
Kim
thousand
is
miles
a
we overnight.
lawyer. Sean, Kim is a lawyer, so I wanted her to ask you some questions for the legal aspect of owning a
Okay.
trucking. Well, what goes on the road legally?
Like,
Okay.
what, I don't know what I'm supposed to ask you. So you said somebody has to be 18. How difficult is it to buy a truck now? Are they just going on credit scores and some down payment, or are there a whole bunch of other requirements?
Oh man, it's changed. You got companies that offer a lease purchase.
Okay.
You know, um, back in the day, you get a lease purchase. You put up $2,000, they give you a brand new truck, and you agree to work for them. And then they take payments out your settlement weekly. If you go on the dealer lot just off the street and say, "Hey, I want to buy that truck," well, the first thing the dealer is going to say, "Well, we want 20% down, and how's your credit?" Then after they ask you that, they're going to say, "What you going to do with it? Are you leased to a company? Do you have your own authority? What you going to do with it?" You have to show all that before they even sit down at the table with you.
Oh, wow.
So there was a time when you started out where it was easier to enter the industry because you could just put that 2,000 down and work for that company until you pay off your debt. Whereas now, not so easy to even get into a
Well,
situation where you can get a truck.
but a new truck back then was, $80,000. My first truck was a brand new truck, and I paid 72.9 for it. Right now, a brand new truck, even a base model truck, could cost you almost $200,000.
Mm,
Ain't no dealer gonna let you walk out. That's more than a house at some people's houses.
that's
And
true.
you got five.
Oh,
5 years is you got to hustle. That thing is not going to sit. And then if you drive a dump truck, everybody was running to getting your own authority and stuff like that. The insurance you used to get, you had to have what, $250,000 worth of insurance. That probably cost you about $2,000 a year. Right now, this guy's paying $21,000 a year
For insurance?
for insurance.
What does that cover? The health insurance also? Does that cover your health?
No.
That's just in case anything happens on the road?
That you on your own, truck your own.
So isn't trucking hard on the body?
It is. It is. It took a toll on me.
Hard on the body. What? Because
You
that's not really intuitive, because we're thinking, well, you're just sitting down, pushing the pedal and doing the steering wheel, but we do hear over and over that it's hard. What makes it hard on your body?
a lot of it is you sitting, 8, 10 hours. There's guys that stop. I'm one of the guys that sit in the saddle. I don't open my left door. I got money on my mind. I know what got to be paid. So I'm a go-getter. Sometimes I might sit in the seat 16, 17 hours. I get out, grab me something to eat. I get back in the truck and go, and I'm trying to be somewhere the next day. I ain't got time to be lollygagging. The other thing too is you get insomnia because you got all these different delivery times. If you run reefer trail, a lot of times they want you to deliver in the middle of the night, middle of the morning. Sometimes you might have to wake up 2 o'clock in the morning. You still sleeping. We got different type of drivers. Like I'm a daytime driver. I like to start off about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and work till about 4 or 5 in the evening, and I'm ready to shut it down.
You mean driving that
Where
long?
you got yeah, and then you got some guys that like to run at night.
You can't do that with the what did you call it? The ELD?
Electronic logging device,
You can't do
ELD.
it anymore, can you? The 12 or 16 hours, it's going to shut
No,
you down.
no. So a lot of guys to go around with that is buying pre-emission trucks, which cause the price of trucks to go skyrocket. So if you can find a truck a 99 or older, you don't have to get an ELD. You can be on paper log, so you can run as hard as you want to run. But if you got a
What's the
2000 or
penalty?
newer,
What's the penalty if you get caught with your EOD?
oh well, if you go with the hours of service on an electronic logging device, it's going to send a message to the safety director if you lease to a company.
Oh.
And then you're gonna get a phone call threatening you that, hey, you violated the hours of service or whatever. Don't do it again. And then you get another notification. They get another notification. They might threaten to fire you or give you some days off. But you ain't gonna get that third time. That ain't gonna happen.
Okay.
You're gonna
And
be
it happens.
gone.
So you're saying the fact that you're sitting all that time and that you maybe not eating healthy on the road and you can't really sleep a regular schedule because of your drop off times, those are the main things, would you say, that cause it to be hard on the body, or is there something else?
Posture is another thing. Some guys lean forward, some guys lean to the side. It's all about posture. I like to sit with my seat all the way to the floor. Some guys like to have air in their seats, a little bouncy. So it just depends on the driver. I'm 6 foot tall, and so a lot of times when I'm sitting on the floor, my knees are bent. I got my cruise control on. So whenever I stop, get out the truck, it's like, golly, you stretch out, your knees are hurting. You got to take some steps. But the other thing too, eating, I might, I try to change up myself. If I eat a burger today, then tomorrow I'm gonna eat fish.
Okay.
The next day I might eat chicken, or something like that. So I'm very mindful of that. But just in my experience, a lot of guys right now are dealing with high blood pressure. They turn around and change the standard. So you got to be 140 or 80 to pass your physical.
To drive?
As for your blood pressure, they'll give you a 1 year. If you can't keep your blood pressure under 140/80, they're only going to give you a 1 year DOT physical. where everybody else that blood pressure is normal, they can get a 2-year physical. You
Oh.
better not tell that guy in that clinic that you're on blood pressure medicine. He is going to give you a 1-year physical, you know,
And these
period.
are things you need to drive a tractor trailer. You have to have a
You have to
physical.
you have to have a physical every 2 years.
And what's your
Unless
certifications you have to have every year?
every year there's no certifications.
And I just have one more question. Queen has one more question, and then after that, you can just pat yourself on the back and let us know that you enjoyed yourself, because trust me when I tell you, you were amazing. But I just wanted to ask you about relationships. All I needed to know, is it hard? Is the trucking industry, being on the road as long as you're on the road, is it hard on relationships?
It really is. If
It
you know, you have to have understanding, and then you have to let your mate know. Can you hear me?
Great.
You gotta let your mate know about your business. Take her out on the road with you, see how it is. So they
Okay.
can understand your gangster. Not
Mhm.
all the time you up to no good. So
Because we hear about the lot lizards.
We sure do.
We hear about we women. See, y'all probably think it's whatever,
you
but
got that $40.
see, you know.
No, I don't mess with a lot of lizards, man.
Oh,
I do
oh
the
no,
truck.
I know a
A
lot
lot
of
Yeah.
guys that
lizard,
they don't.
a lot lizard is only $40.
Shoot, they used to be cheaper than that.
Eh, well, that's not a
Uh,
good sign.
yeah,
Um,
hey,
Inflation.
so would you recommend trucking now to a young brother getting out of high school, says, college is not for me. I'm going to get a career. I like to drive. He wants to get on the road, do long distance trucking. Would you say, young brother, good idea, here are some tips? Or would you say, man, stay away from that, get as far away from that as you can?
I don't know. That's a
Good question.
when it comes to transportation, everybody look at the big bucks. It's a hard job, but like when you season, I make it look easy.
Mm,
Just like you said, the young woman is a lawyer.
mm-hmm,
You know, well, look at all the schooling that she had to go through. They're probably agonizing, and
mm-hmm,
then you get in the courtroom is your first case. You trying to show I know a little something.
mm-hmm,
Well,
mm-hmm,
you could get ate up by somebody that's seasoned.
mm-hmm,
So you
mm-hmm.
you still have to put your time in, and then you start connecting with other people. You find little mentors here and there, people talk to, try to keep you on the straight and narrow. And I got 3 young men right now that I'm shadowing right now. I've
Mm.
been shadowing them for 2 years. They were company drivers,
Are
and
they gonna work for you?
no, the
No.
first one I had a second truck, so
Hmm.
I told him, I said, man, I don't want you to drive for me. I'm gonna save the truck, but I'm a tutor you.
Oh, okay.
And he's doing good. His first year, he made $170,000. About right after I met him, probably about a month and a half later, the second one came along, and his first year he made 180.
What?
But then they knuckleheads,
Oh,
They
know it
when I
all.
tell you they knuckleheads,
The younger people, and they know
once
it
they
all.
start getting that money and you couldn't tell them nothing,
Mm.
they got hard headed.
It's a
So out of
little,
the three, two of them. Go ahead.
it's a little early
You
to
sound real low.
Oh, I do. It's a little early to make that kind of money, so it's hard to manage, I guess.
Well, I'll just say, I bought my first house when I was 24 years old,
Mhm.
and I'm 53 now. So I manage my money pretty good, and I raised my kids. They were I was always a part of their life.
Mhm.
Career day, I brought my trucks down to the school.
Does any
I
of
used
them
to
want to
take
follow
them
in your
out.
footsteps?
No,
No. Okay.
no, my son don't like driving like that.
Okay.
My
Yeah.
daughter, She got a lead foot, but she's following her own path.
Okay.
But I keep them close. I keep them real close.
One
And
quick question, you were telling us the certifications new drivers have to have, and you said the 2 hours, and then you were saying what kind of like driver's license you had to have.
well, I have you got a Class A, Class B. Class A, you can drive any combination of weight up to 80,000 pounds. Anything
Okay.
after that, you need permits for.
Okay.
Class B is like a dump truck. Anything over 26,000 pounds gross weight, you
Okay.
need a Class B with air brakes.
With air brake.
But yeah,
Okay.
anything other than that is small money.
Is stick shift still around, or everything's automatic now?
No, a lot of the Big Ten carriers are going to all automatics because they see.
Because
Most people can't
I'm
drive a
sorry,
stick
your phone broke up. What was that? Can you please repeat that?
because what? Why are they going to the automatic?
because they can keep asses in the seat. Because a
Mm,
lot of people can't drive stick shifts.
yeah.
So they came out with automatic transmissions. They can keep people rotating the people all the time.
Okay.
And these guys are tearing stuff up too.
Okay.
You
Okay. I
know,
can see how.
Hmm. So
so
then you're saying, okay, you can't tell a young brother whether or not to come into the industry. Let's say the brother said, well, I'm going to be a trucker. That's what I always wanted to do. Would you recommend that he work for a company or try to get some financing and get a truck so that he can make his own money?
well, he's still gonna be bounded by that 2 year minimum. Even if you had enough cash to buy your own truck, your first truck, a lot of carriers are not gonna touch you because they're gonna say, "What? You just bought a truck? What have you done? Have you been in tight spaces? I mean, what experience do you have?" They're not gonna touch you.
So the career path is really go work for a trucking company for 2 years. And then if you want to get a truck or something, you can try to do that. And then I guess you have that 2 years to see whether it's a good career for you or not, too.
Correct. Yeah. And some company jobs, if you find a good company, it's gonna be bull stuff to get there. Because a lot of guys won't quit a quality company. I mean, you should know that as a lawyer. Um, so you have to work for the crook. You work for the crook until you know better. Then you move up to the next person that's a little better than the crook, and you just find your way till you get where you want to be. And the ultimate goal is to buy your truck and then eventually buy more equipment and then run your own business. So all these years I was leased to a company, and right now I'm doing the online courses now to start my own brokerage. So I don't want no middleman. I'm cutting them totally out. I want all the money coming to me.
So
The,
who's
And
gonna
it,
the brokerage for the trucking job so that you're the one assigning them, or what kind of brokerage are you
yeah.
talking about?
yep, freight brokering.
Mhm.
So say you the customer, I talk directly to you. I talk to her. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And say, hey, I got trucks. We're gonna sit down. These are my rates and this and that and third. And you say, well, yeah, I can use you. I'm in house with her. Then I call you and say, hey, Miss Clean Cut Sister, hey, I got loads. You got trucks. Then I tell you, hey, this is the rates. You say, well, this is my rate. I just tell you, hey, I got this load. You call me and say, hey, I got a truck over here. I got a truck in Maryland. I say, let me see what I got. I get on my board that she sent me loads that she need pulled, and then it's sitting in my computer. Then I say, hey, I got a load picking up here, this, that, and the third, and this would it pay. And then you will say to me, well, you either accept it or not. I get my commission off of that, and then everything is on you from that point forward. So in simplest terms, if I even if I did just dispatching, if I get a guy $10,000 a week gross, I get 10% of that 10,000. That's $1,000. So think about that. I got 5 trucks that's doing that.
Yeah.
That's a $5,000 a week that I sat in front of my computer, maybe an hour, hour and a half, making sure everybody had a load and plan out their next load when they get where they're going. Easy breezy.
Ease. So basically, there's a guy on TikTok on social media who feels like he discourages people from joining the industry because he keeps saying it's a dying industry. Do you believe that? The driving cross country, because he does do from like Maryland to California a lot of trips, and he's like, that's a dying industry now.
And
It's
he said
it's
they
it's
take
go it's
go.
going down, but I'm not going to discourage anybody from doing what they want to do. Just understand there's going to be some sacrifices, and if you ain't willing to sacrifice, then this job is not for you. It's not a 9 to 5.
But
You know.
remember how you said you would call if you're the brokerage, you will call and say, "Hey, I got this job. It pays X amount of dollars." He's saying that the amount they're willing to pay jobs used to be good and you could make a profit, but now it's so low that by the time you pay gas and whatever, he's like, it's not even worth my time. I won't even take a job now.
Well, that's because we got so many drivers, different drivers now, that would take a cheap load instead of saying no. Like I'll go to you and say, hey, that load should pay you. Going to California years ago was a $14,000-15,000 run one way hauling produce.
Wow.
For a tanker, on 3,000 miles, hell, it was paying, about the same.
Mm.
And that's being leased to a company. And so nowadays you got, yeah, I hate to say it. I don't want to say it. I'm not racist enough, but like the Mexicans start doing the cheap rates. Stuff start coming out of
I was
uh,
gonna ask that. I'm so glad you said it. So I had to ask.
out of Mexico, and they found a way to let them come over here and run. Canadian drivers, they can only come down here and reload right back to Canada. They can't run all over the United States and pull loads. They have to reload right back to Canada.
Okay.
Well, in Mexico, those drivers can come out and bring a load in the United States, make a delivery, run over here, take a load over here, take a load over there. You know what I'm saying? They can do what they want to do while they up here.
That's so wrong.
But we can't go in Mexico and do the same thing. We
What?
take loads down to Laredo and El Paso and stuff like that. They got drop lots. We drop our trailers, and then Mexican drivers come and pick those up from them drop lots and take them back over into Mexico.
America is just the worst now.
Ain't it?
Best. We used to be the best. Now it's the worst. Let
But
me.
I'm not gonna put that all on the Mexicans, because you got the Africans and you
Mhm.
got them too. They just, they say Americans are lazy. But if I'm telling you, man, that load was paying me more,
Exactly the cost of our living.
and now you done turn around and they know you don't know no better.
Right.
So they cut that same load cheap, and you do it. When they offer it to me and I say, hey man, this load paid this much, they said, well, man, I got guys that are doing it for the cheaper rate. Well, guess what? I tell them, let them have
Let
it.
them have it. Let them have it.
What I mean
Now,
about
see that, but
America
that cuts me out of money.
being, but that's what I mean about America being a problem, because those other countries are protecting their workforce. You can't go to Mexico. Canadians can only do this. America's just all free for all,
Yeah, every free fall.
whatever you want. But I want to, before we wrap up, I have one more question. And we talked about the health problems that driving a truck, it's our timer, that driving a truck would potentially cause. Do you have tips on how people can avoid that? You can't really
Go
hear
to the doctor. Go to the doctor. Get checkups.
Mhm.
I've had two major surgeries. I had a heart valve surgery.
Oh.
That was probably about $800,000-900,000 surgery. That was in 2021. I wasn't feeling good, and then I just had a liver transplant uh the 29th of May of this year.
That's
That was probably another $900,000 surgery.
Oh.
those
But
are
I'm retired from the military, so they covered it.
Oh,
But
that's awesome.
but it took a toll of me not taking care of myself when I was younger. I just ran. I was Superman.
April.
And then the stress of other drivers working for me. I had a small fleet of trucks, and so getting sleep that wasn't an option for me. My phone rang all the time. I had driver totaled my truck. I got, I was getting sued. I mean, like, damn,
Mm.
so you always on the edge.
Stress.
So even right now, with
Mm.
me falling back a little bit,
Mm.
I'm always on 10.
Mm.
I'm a 9.5 walking around all day long.
Mm.
And then I'm paying attention to what people say and how they say it to me. And that's because that's the business side of me. I have to deal with customers. I got to deal with brokers. I got to deal with drivers, the public. I mean, you always got to protect yourself.
One man
And
show.
but I got some good friends. Your brother's one of them. We talk to each other. And
Mhm.
again, it's hard on, like you asked about relationships.
Mhm.
And I was telling you about that quote that Bill Withers
Yes.
had.
Yes.
I found the quote, and it says, if you can still hear me, it says, "The most I've gained is when I got in this business. The most that I lost is when I got in this business." So that quote says that when I got into this business, the money I gained,
Mm-hmm.
it was a come up. I
Mm-hmm.
made plenty of money.
Mm-hmm.
But then the sacrifices that I had to make because of what I do,
Mm-hmm.
I've lost. You
Mm-hmm.
got guys that lost wives, they
Mm-hmm.
lost their whole families because they was too busy chasing the money and not taking care of their homework. I've
Mhm.
been married twice, but trucking didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't trucking.
Yeah.
It's just they had their own little thing. My last marriage, it was generational curses that was in our family.
Mm.
And I just said I wasn't going to deal with that.
We'll have to
My
bring you
first
back home
marriage,
back. We'll definitely have to
yeah, I
bring you back
mean,
home.
that's serious. My
Mm-hmm.
first marriage, um, I was a savior. I was a savior. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Women pay attention. I'm not. Don't take that wrong. You will pay attention to a man that's spending money,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll sit there and say, you know what? I like that. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to worry about anything.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, and so my first wife, she was married to an abusive guy. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have those problems. You know what I mean? So I'm like, babe, come on over here. I got you. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and so the things that she should have dealt with him, she didn't deal with it. So
Uh,
it came over into our marriage.
I understand.
And so when you don't deal with your problems, you bring them into a person that don't have those problems,
Mm-hmm.
and then you sit back, you ride down the road, and you wonder why your wife ain't calling you and seeing how you doing. But you'll get that phone call, hey, I need some money.
Oh.
Like how long I'm gonna deal with that?
Mm-hmm.
Then you got some women that's weak. Well, my man ain't there. I'm gonna have me a side boo.
Oh.
I just say this: everybody need to take accountability of their part.
Mm-hmm.
If my wife say to me, "Hey, baby, you've been on the road a little too long. I need you to kind of tighten that up," I need you.
Would
I'm
you
gonna make
do
the
it?
appropriate adjustment. So if I don't and she cheat, that's on me.
Okay.
I'm a realist about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if I tell her I need something and
Right.
she don't make adjustment, nobody said you had to go from 0 to 10. But how
Right.
about you give me 0 to 3, and let's see how that works. And so it's so many things, but trucking is hard if you're not disciplined. And
Absolutely.
I like the money. I swear to God, I do. I love the money. I keep money.
That's
I
what
pay cash. I'm gonna tell you something real funny. I went to the bank. I just bought a brand new pickup truck,
Mm-hmm.
and they said they said, all right, Mr. Graham, I filled out the paper. You don't have bad credit, but you ain't got no credit. I said,
Oh,
what's the problem?
that's
They
bad.
said, we don't have nothing. We don't have nothing on file from you from 2005 all the way up to 2023. I said, because I've been paying cash for everything.
Oh, yep. That's exactly right. That's called our grandparents' income because they pay if it didn't get bought with cash, they didn't buy it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just stack my money and I just pay cash for it. I slept good with I ain't got to worry about somebody the hook
Absolutely.
coming to get my stuff, my trucks, pay
Absolutely.
for them, cash.
It sounds like you had the most success that I've ever heard in this industry. And I'm telling you, I appreciate you. And I thank you so much, Mr. Sean Graham, for coming on our show. Let me tell
Can I
you,
say one more piece of advice?
say whatever you want. Absolutely.
If you're gonna show this podcast and somebody is interested, just
Mhm.
tell them make sure they file their taxes because the IRS will come get you.
I will definitely put that in the bio. File your taxes. Okay.
Always put money in your equipment.
Okay. Put
Your
money.
equipment is going to get you out and back.
Okay.
And you know, take care of yourself.
Mhm.
Stay groomed. Stay clean. You know, because I don't want somebody looking at you and assuming you're a dirty person or you speak from ignorance. I don't like to curse
Mhm.
because I'm not going to stand around in front of a customer and
Mhm.
going, you know, F this and F that. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I'm very mindful of how I speak, and I demand that respect whenever I'm at a customer or they mouthing off at me, and I'm standing there. I'm all business.
Okay.
So, and
Okay.
pay attention to your money at all times.
Professional, file your taxes, make sure you keep your health in check, and make sure you keep your equipment up to date, right?
Correct.
Okay, I will definitely have all of that as far as the advice you were given. Plus, we are going to air this. I'm letting you know.
Okay, that's
Once
fine.
again, you can definitely come back on. Please let us know. You have my number. We definitely would love to have you back on again. We could go into other topics about other things because you've been on the road. So I'm quite sure you've seen some things, heard some things, and we'd love to pick your brain about it. And I really appreciate you.
You need to have one about the Lonely Child Chronicles. I'm telling you, boy, the show will be, whoo,
The Lonely Child?
the Lonely Child Chronicles.
Lonely Child Chronicles.
The
All right.
stories about the women and this and that. Oh my gracious! I'm gonna tell you something, boy. You better get your butter popcorn. I'm gonna tell you that.
Oh, no, we will. We will. I would love to hear that.
Woo.
Sounds very interesting. Thank
Yep.
you so much for coming and sharing your knowledge with us. And maybe we'll have you back for some
Lonely
lonely.
Girl
All
Chronicles.
right. Well, thank you for having me. And you all
Thank
have a
you.
good evening.
Oh, Lonely Child Chronicles. I'm
Lonely
sorry.
Child. Right, I couldn't. I was thinking, boy, you're
I
lonely.
was thinking girls. So I'm like, oh, it's got to be both then.
And we wish you the best with your health too, with the transplant. That's a lot. And so I wish you a speedy and a safe, yes,
Absolutely.
you recovered. But good health.
I am fine. I'm running
Thank
around. I'm thinking about going back to work.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you all. And
you. We appreciate
anything
it.
else, I ain't hard to find.
That's thank you so much. We really do appreciate you and God bless you.
Have a
All
great.
right now.
Okay.
All
All right.
right, later.
Thank you for kicking it with Kimm and Torra.
We'll see you next time.